On this episode of the Rebel Health Tribe podcast, available at rebelhealthtribe.com, we welcome Dr. Carri Drzyzga from drcarri.com.
I think stress is a huge component, and sitting down with patients and really getting personal with them and asking them, like, are you happy in your life? Do you feel like you're leading a purpose-driven life? Do you feel... Do you like your job? Do you hate your job? What is your relationship like? Do you love your spouse? Do you hate your spouse? Like, where are you at?
Yeah, it's almost like you're a therapist sometimes to try and get to the heart of the matter.
Yeah, because I really think that that's really where the big changes happen, is when patients can see, where those big stressors are. And, some of them, they're at the point where they know that they need to make the change and they're ready to make the change. And sometimes it's just planting that seed.
Right.
To say, look, we're going to do everything we can, but I'm going to tell you right now, if we don't take care of that at some point, you're going to hit a wall. Like, you're only going to get so far with getting better.
That's coming up.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Rebel Health Tribe Podcast. I'm Joe Riccola with Michael Roseline. What's up, Michael?
Hey man, how's it going?
Going good, man. What's new? Anything?
Good. No, I mean, I just talked to you like 10 minutes ago, so since then...
Let's pretend we haven't talked in a week.
Yeah, no, still summertime, still doing good.
Awesome. Today we're joined by Dr. Carri Drzyzga. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did. And you can call me Dr. Carri. It's fine.
Dr. Carri, okay. Cool. I'll do that because it's much easier.
It's easier, yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Dr. Carri.
It's a pleasure to be on, guys.
All right.
Thanks for being here. So, for folks who may not be familiar with you, just give folks a little background. What is it that you do, and why do you do it?
Well, I'm a functional medicine doctor, and my background is I have training as a chiropractor and a naturopathic doctor, so I have 2 licenses there. And then I've trained in acupuncture, and I've trained as a gluten doctor, and so I have all this training, and really my true passion is functional medicine. And I know that you guys have had other functional medicine doctors on.
Sure.
Yep.
So probably your audience is already kind of a little familiar with what functional medicine is.
They definitely are.
Yeah, so I've written a book on functional medicine, particularly related to fatigue, called Reclaim Your Energy and Feel Normal Again. And Reclaim. So the title is Reclaim Your Energy and Feel Normal Again.
Excellent. They can get that on Amazon or wherever.
Yes, they can. Yeah.
And your website is Dr. Carri, right?
Yeah, drcarri.com is kind of my home base, where you can find my podcast and other interviews that I've done. Awesome.
How long have you been doing the podcast for?
I've been doing the podcast, wow, it's like going on 2 years now, actually.
Oh,
it's
wow.
Gone really fast, yeah.
yeah, very cool. Very cool. Awesome. So how did you get started doing functional medicine work?
This is a really interesting question. So I would say it was about 5 years into practice as a chiropractor. And by the way, my husband, he's also a chiropractor. We met in school in Chicago.
Where'd you go to school, in Lombard?
In Lombard, yeah. And
I grew up in Lombard.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah, now it's called Natural College of Health Science, or changed names, right?
Yeah, it's National University of Health Sciences.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. I grew up about 5 minutes away from there.
Oh, that's awesome.
I guess. We've had more than one guest on that in interviews and podcasts and webinars that attended the school, and everyone's always like, "That's great," but like it's a cool coincidence. But growing up in Lombard wasn't the most exciting thing ever. But yeah, we have a lot of common places and things we could chat about probably.
Probably, yeah. So yeah, it was about 5 years into private practice. I realized that I just wasn't happy being a chiropractor. Now, I love chiropractic, but I wasn't happy, satisfied, fulfilled being a chiropractor.
Yeah. There's more that you can do to help people.
Yeah, and I remember coming home one night and sitting down at dinner with my husband and asking him, like, are you happy doing what you're doing? Because, like, I don't see myself doing this for, like, the next 25, 30 years. And he said, like, I love doing what I do. And I said, like, oh, I don't really love this. Like, I'm bored already.
Yeah.
I was really bored, and I knew that I could do more. And so I was back to square one, like trying to figure out what do I want to be when I grow up.
I know that feeling.
And yet, you know, having a pile of, you know, student debt to still pay off.
Yes.
And and then it's funny how the universe kind of works, and you finally, like, you start taking different courses, and I had interest in allergies and sensitivities, learning about detoxification and hormones, and I finally, you know, got on this path, and I realized it was really functional medicine is what I really wanted to do.
Right.
But in order to truly practice functional medicine here in Ontario, where I live and practice, that meant going back to school and getting a second degree. So that was now 15 years into private practice. I decided to take a break and go back to school. So you'll appreciate this. I flew back to Chicago, and I was living in Chicago again in Lombard at NUHS for 2 years. So it was a crazy schedule. I was in class like 30 hours a week. Morning, afternoons, and evening classes. They gave me the maximum load. And then I was actually flying back and forth to Ottawa to try and maintain somewhat of a private practice. So I did that crazy schedule for a couple of years. And about 6 months into that schedule is when I really started feeling fatigued. And
wow, you lasted 6 months. That's pretty good.
I lasted 6 months. I was like, coffee, lots more and more coffee. And and I knew it was just simply the pressure and the stress that I was putting myself under, you know, short-term pain for long-term gain. And I just, you know, thought I just have to suck it up and get through the program, graduate, pass my board exams, take a couple months to just relax, and like everything will be fine. But my energy just didn't bounce back after that. And so then I started applying functional medicine to myself. And really, that's kind of breaking the rules as a doctor, because you really shouldn't be treating yourself because you're not, you know, unbiased. And so then I just started attracting all of these patients with fatigue and learning that, like, this whole arena is not really well managed in our traditional healthcare model.
Sure. So you were sort of forced into it, both with your own fatigue and your own hectic lifestyle, and also that you were attracting these clients that were sort of, it's kind of the universe banging you over the head saying, this is the path.
Exactly.
Where you need to go.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how long ago was that? Was about 5 years ago, you said?
So yeah, that was now 5 years ago that I got my second degree. I don't know where time has gone. So now I'm in practice 20 years, and it's gone by like the blink of an eye.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you have a really nice looking website. You have the podcast, you have the blog, and videos and stuff like that. When did you make the shift into having that online presence? I think that's really interesting.
You know, I realized after graduating the second time that you know, healthcare as we know it is shifting, and it's becoming more. We have to have more of an online presence. We have to have more of a virtual presence. And so I had some really great mentors and coaches to help me with that, and really to help spread the message and get it out there. Like, that's just what we need to do.
Sure, absolutely. And do you take clients from distance? You know, do you do some distance work with people?
I do have some clients that I do distant work with. So we do it via like Skype sessions or phone sessions. So, but I have to qualify that. I don't take everybody on as a patient.
Right.
So if somebody's interested in becoming a new patient, they apply first. They fill out an application form. And from that, I can kind of see, are they a good fit for functional medicine or not? Are they a good fit for me or not? Because not everybody can be treated from a distance. So I'm trying to maintain, you know, their safety and, like, what can I do and what can I not do. So there's many different factors that go into that decision.
Okay. Gotcha. So what did you grew up in Chicago?
Yeah, I was actually born and raised in Chicago.
Okay.
On the south side. Yeah.
And you moved further north.
I moved further north, yeah. So when I was in chiropractic school, I met my husband, fell in love, and his dad was also a chiropractor.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
So he was basically like his dad's retirement plan.
Nice.
Right? So he would,
That's
go back, kind of help out with his dad's practice, eventually take it over. So like I knew that was happening, so I had to start like mentally preparing myself for moving from the big city to Ottawa, which is about 1 million people.
Right. That's interesting. I have 2 sons, so maybe that's a good plan. I should force them into the same field, and they can take over.
Yeah, there you go. Although my husband wasn't forced. That was his decision.
I'm sure, but I think, Mike, you may have to start co-hosting with Mason for some of these podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
Warming him up. What do you think?
Sure.
So he's 4.5. He can handle it. So growing up in Chicago, what did your parents do?
Oh, actually, that's a great question. So my parents had a very traditional marriage. My dad was the breadwinner, and my mom was the stay-at-home mom, so she took care of us. That was her job, the hardest job in the world.
Sure.
And my dad was very much of an entrepreneur, so he had, at one time, he had 3 businesses going. So he had a business out of the garage doing fishing tackle, making lures and whatnot. And then he also had a pizza place. So that was Bill's Pizza and Pub in Marquette Park.
Okay.
Which was very successful. And then the third was a business that he had with his dad, which was Chicago Perforating. So he perforated steel. And that was on the south side on 24th and Western. And they actually...
Perforated steel?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 completely different businesses. That's really interesting.
Yeah. So I don't remember my dad being home very much, but he was a very hard worker. Right. And I think I got that aspect of him because I'm also a very hard worker. Yeah. Yeah, sure. I mean, you traveled back and forth to go to school and going back to school and maintaining a practice. I would say so. Yeah. Or I'm insane. I don't know.
Maybe.
I think we all are a little bit.
I think we all need to be a little bit. I think maybe in this industry, maybe we should be. I think it's probably a plus that you're a little bit crazy. If there's anything wrong with that. And so when you growing up, when did you decide that you wanted to go to chiropractic school? When did you decide that was the route you wanted to take?
Oh, it was actually I'm one of these late bloomers. It was really difficult for me to try and figure out like what did I want to do. Mm-hmm. So after high school, I took some courses at the local community college and just things that interested me, and it ended up being sciences and math and.
Okay.
And then it was funny because so this is again the universe kind of calling out. So at that point, I was working at the local library, the Oak Lawn Public Library, for about 5 years, shelving books, and it was fate that across my cart was this book about chiropractic.
Okay.
And I had a friend that had started chiropractic school at that point in Lombard, but I still didn't really know like what is a chiropractor or what is chiropractic. So I actually checked out the book and read it cover to cover, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like I always knew that I wanted to be in healthcare, but I knew I did not want to be a medical doctor, and I knew I did not want to be a nurse. But I didn't really know what other options were out there for me. Right. And so after reading this basic book on chiropractic, I was like, oh, this is really interesting and something I could do. Healing with the hands, and it's a holistic viewpoint. And so that's actually how I got into chiropractic.
Did you always know that you wanted to be sort of a business owner, an entrepreneur yourself? That was, I would imagine. No, really?
No, I had no idea. I was very naive coming out of chiropractic school. Okay. And
I was going to say, I see people whose parents are entrepreneurs going in 2 different directions. One is that they follow in the footsteps and become entrepreneurs, and the other is they run completely out the opposite way. Yeah.
So I was like initially that running away. Yeah. And it's very scary, and I'm sure a lot of your viewers and listeners can appreciate that. It's very scary, the thought of just having all this debt and then opening your own business and hoping and praying that patients walk through the door. So I I did not have that entrepreneurial spirit. But being in practice, within the first 3, 4, 5 years, I realized that if I want to make it, that I need to do it on my own.
Yeah.
And I guess the other part is, by nature, I'm a Leo, and I realized, like, I like to do things my way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
in order for me to do things my way, I need to have my own office, my own practice.
Yeah. I'm a very bad employee myself.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not good at having a boss or any of those things, which I kind of found entrepreneurship by default being like, oh, well, I guess I'm just going to have to figure this out on my own, and then it's great. I mean, there's a lot of not great things about it, too. I mean, there's definitely a pros and cons, and a lot of extra behind-the-scenes work, and a lot of weekends worked, and a lot of nights worked, and a lot of work you're not getting directly paid for. But, yeah, I think we would all on this call agree that it's the best for us.
Yes.
For sure.
So right out of chiropractic college, you opened up your own practice, or did you actually try to work for someone else for a while?
Yeah, I actually tried to work with somebody else for a while.
Okay.
And that has its own limitations and its own barriers, and I just realized that wasn't working.
Okay.
And
what
so,
was
yeah.
Working? What about that wasn't working for you? Was there a certain way that the patients needed to be treated? Was there a lot of sort of a, like some chiropractic offices are sort of like this, people are in and out in 2 minutes flat, and it's on to the next one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it had really nothing to do with patient care.
Okay.
I was just, the amount of patients that were coming in to see me was not what I was originally promised.
Right. Okay.
So, and this happens to people, right? You have like the little bait and switch, and you feel like now we've lost trust. And so I had this impression, of initially what this agreement was going to be about, and then this is, what happens. And you end up, and this happens actually to a lot, not just chiropractors, but a lot of healthcare professionals is, you sign this contract to work in this office for a couple of years, and then it's like, then you're doing all the grunt work, or you're not really seeing the amount of patients that you should be seeing.
Right.
And then you just realize, like, I can do this better on my own.
Sure. Absolutely. And so how long were you there for? Not very long before you opened up your own
Yeah, no,
place?
it was not very long. It was just a couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you open up your own place. This is at this point you're married, and it's you and your husband that open up a practice?
Oh, what's funny about that is I've never practiced with my husband.
Oh, no kidding. He's got his own place?
Yeah. In fact, he's the neighbor next door right now.
Is he really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so good.
Are you in Chicago now?
No, I'm actually in Ottawa, Ontario.
Oh, okay. Is that where he was from?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so going into practice originally, so moving to Canada, so he was working with his dad, and then his mom was the office manager, and he's an only child. So it was like that was their thing.
Yeah, I got it.
And I didn't want to dip my toe in it because I didn't feel right about that. And as a very, I can be a very stubborn Pollock. And I'm a very, very much a Leo. I want to do my own thing. And of course, too, that we were warned in school, like if you're a husband and a wife, there are some difficulties with being in practice together.
Okay.
Difficulties with staff, recognizing like, well, who's really the boss here? And having staff undermine your authority.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so we just decided like at the get-go, like we are not practicing together.
Okay.
And probably that's why we're married now for 20 years.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes sense. That's great.
But yeah, it's really funny because at this point we're in the same building and we're just neighbors.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Well, that's kind of cool. So you kind of can work together. You see, I'm sure you have lunch or whatever, but you have your own thing. That's smart.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when you made the shift, 5 years ago to more functional medicine, do you practice chiropractic at all anymore, or is it you're just doing the functional medicine?
I do still practice chiropractic, but more and more I'm practicing functional medicine.
Okay. And so what does that entail for clients that come in? Do you work with nutrition, or do you do a lot of lab work? And
That's a great question. So usually when patients come to see me, so in Canada, the healthcare system is radically different from the U.S.
That's for sure.
So, and some would argue that's a good thing, some would argue that's a bad thing. You know, it's interesting the position I'm in because I can see both sides.
Mm-hmm.
But so because we have socialized medicine here, that means the government covers any appointments to a medical doctor. But if you're not a medical doctor, that patient has to pay out of their pocket. And whether or not they have private insurance to cover that part, they may or may not.
Right.
So because we have socialized medicine and everybody can see an MD for free, I'll put that in quotes, because we pay a lot in income tax in order to have that benefit. So most of my patients, by the time they come to see me, they've seen their medical doctor multiple times and they've had like lots of tests done. Sometimes they've already seen one or two specialists as well, like an endocrinologist or a gastroenterologist or rheumatologist. And actually a lot of them have also seen either a chiropractor or a physical therapist or one or two other naturopathic doctors. So by the time they actually get to my door, they've seen a lot of people, have not gotten the answers that they're looking for. And so during that initial visit, I'm obviously getting their history, but I also want to get some of that medical background. So what tests have already been run, and what do those tell me, and what tests have not been run, and then kind of setting up from there, like, what is the next best steps to take? Is it investigating further with other blood tests or stool tests or saliva tests? Yeah.
Right. Okay. Do you find resistance with some more of the conventional doctors in Canada because it's not accepted through the insurance? Is there some resistance there, or do you find it easy to work with some of the other doctors if you need information? Or
okay, so that's a great question to answer. So if I'm requesting lab results that a patient had done with an MD, there's usually no problems, because that's kind of an interprofessional collaboration. But to be quite honest, beyond that, it's been very, very difficult to set up collaboration with medical doctors.
Wow. Yeah. I guess that should be yeah.
Yeah. So in that regards, it's not that different from the U.S. It might even be a little bit worse in the U.S. And I don't necessarily blame it on the individual medical doctors. I think that's also part of the system that they have to work within.
Yeah, I think Mike and I have both experienced some pretty harsh conversations with doctors who are trying to work with clients here. So, especially for we're not even doctors, but we do some nutrition work, and that's it's weird. It's like somehow they've missed the information that nutrition doesn't have anything to do with how people's health, how healthy they are. So, for us to work with doctors, it's really been interesting.
It's been frustrating. I sent a list of blood tests for a client to request from their doctor, and the doctor asked them where they got the list from, and they said from the nutritionist I'm working with, and then the doctor emailed me this like super threatening letter, and instead of being like, well, if you did your job, I wouldn't have to do this for you, I just said, oh, I'm really sorry, there must be some kind of misunderstanding, and then just didn't reply again. But I've encountered several things like that. So now, but I also have had clients who worked with doctors who were really open to what they were trying to do and what we were working on and things like that. So I don't want to throw them all under the bus. But yeah, I've been attacked a couple times.
I was actually worked in a doctor's office too for about a year. Who was obviously, she had me in there as a nutritionist, so it was as open-minded as you can get. So yeah, I should add that too. It's not across the board, but. It's interesting that you have that experience and you're a doctor.
Yeah, and I have 2 degrees.
And 2 degrees, right.
And 2 degrees, yeah. But like I said, it's not always the individual doctor. I think it's because they are constrained to the system. Sure. So for example, for an MD, it's my understanding that for an MD to refer their patient to me, that puts them under a certain amount of legal risk. If I mess that patient up, that patient can sue me, and then they can go back and sue their doctor because their doctor referred them to me.
Yeah. And I would imagine those doctors have to see a tremendous amount of patients. I don't know if the socialized medicine there in Canada is anything like it is here, is like with Medicaid or Medicare. But doctors are getting like $22 a visit.
Yeah.
If the patient has Medicare. So I'm not sure if the numbers are about the same.
So they try to see like 17 patients an hour?
Yeah. So I know that, they're not getting paid very much, and you have like 5 to 7 minutes with them. And actually, and I have a lot of patients that have been told, like, you can only have one complaint.
Yeah.
And if you have more than one complaint, book another visit.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have to see a ton of patients, and who's got time. And then after that, they have to do charts, and then who's got time to read new research that says, oh, by the way, cholesterol doesn't cause heart disease. I think they're still working on
right. Or gluten is bad. Gluten is really bad.
Yeah. No, instead they say, no, it's dangerous to be on a gluten-free diet unless you're celiac.
Mm-hmm.
I've had that too, which is astonishing.
I believe it. Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, absolutely. So
it's hard because you want to maintain your professionalism.
Yeah.
And you want to try and build that collaboration, and you want to try and educate them to try and get them to, I don't know, see the light.
At least open up to it.
Yeah, at least be a little bit more open, but I don't know. I've been in practice now 20 years, and I guess I'm just tired of beating my head against the wall.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
Exactly. At this point, you don't have to. You've got a successful practice for 20 years, and your reputation obviously speaks for itself, and you probably don't have to deal with that as much as you used to.
Yeah.
So somewhere along the line, obviously you dealt with your own fatigue with going back to school and traveling, and that did that become like a sort of a focus for you in your practice? And obviously these people were finding you who were dealing with fatigue. That chronic fatigue, become something that you really focused on?
Yeah, it was a real focus of mine because as I was going through my own journey, let's say, I was realizing all of the different factors that could be involved with fatigue, not just for my case, but in general. And it always just, as a doctor, it always irks me when a patient is not getting better. And I'm doing all the right things, and I know I'm doing all the right things, and they're doing all the right things, and why aren't they getting better? So those are the patients that really frustrate me the most, and so then I go back to the research. Okay, what am I missing? And that's just how, we learn and we learn and then we learn. But yeah, initially it was my own fatigue struggles and just, realizing, okay, let's look at the cortisol. So we do a cortisol saliva test. It's terrible. It's like flatline, not a surprise at all. So starting to work on that. Okay, my energy got a little bit better. Okay, so what else am I missing? Okay, now I really have to buckle down and do that gluten-free diet. Because I got to say, I got trained directly by Tom O'Brien, who is fantastic, amazing doctor. But I was so afraid of just doing a gluten-free diet for myself. And I knew I had to do it.
What was the fear? Was it just that you thought it was going to be too hard? What were you going to eat? Or was there still that sort of thought as a doctor saying, am I going to miss some nutrients by going on it?
No. It had nothing to do with that. It was that it was going to be too hard.
Just too hard.
It was going to be just too hard, and what would I be able to eat? And it was just impossible. So in my head, it was just impossible.
Yeah. Even after, did you have that thought even after you took the course with Dr. O'Brien? I took the course too when I first came out, actually.
Yeah, I had that thought after the course. He was ticking off, okay, gluten is associated with this, gluten is associated with that, and I'm ticking it off on my own personal health history, my family's health history, so I know I need to do a gluten-free diet. But in my head, I built it up that it was just going to be too difficult.
Right.
But finally, my health got to a point where I was like, okay, Carrie, and you just have to bite the bullet here and figure it out. And I wrote about this in the book that, okay, this is how I did it, and this is how I kind of counsel patients. Is that what worked for me is I just worked on focusing on breakfast, and I figured out breakfast. And it took a couple of weeks to figure out, what do I need to have on hand, and where do I buy this, and where do I buy that, and what's, fast and easy to do. And once I mastered breakfast, great, then I worked on lunch.
That's smart.
Maybe it took a week or two to master that. And, you guys know there's, so much free information on the internet at this point. Of recipes, a menu plan. So I just kind of chunked it down and took it step by step like that. Mm-hmm. And I would also say that this was also about the time where I read a book by Jeff Olson called, oh, now I'm having a senior moment here.
Senior moment.
Jeff Olson. I can't remember it now.
What was it about?
Just taking things step by step and the small things, how important the small decisions are versus the big, hairy decisions. So the small things that you're doing every day.
There's a book called Chunk It Down, actually.
No, it wasn't Chunking It Down. Okay, anyways.
Anyway, yeah, that's right. We'll look it up and put it in the show notes. How's that?
It's so ridiculous. So yeah, I read that book, and he talked about it's just taking small steps steps at a time. And so I guess I took that and I applied that to the gluten-free diet.
Gotcha. Makes
and
sense.
My God, once I was done, I realized like that wasn't that difficult. I really built that up in my head.
Yeah.
That was really silly of me, but that really wasn't that difficult. And hey, I'm feeling even better, so it's helping.
Awesome.
So it's kind of like one of those typical things you're outside of your comfort zone, and that's like really scary. And then you realize like, hey, that wasn't so bad after all. What was I so scared about?
Was
that happens a lot. Slight Edge? Yeah, is it called the Slight Edge?
The Slight Edge. There you go. Yes.
Cool. We found it. Multitasking.
Yeah. Great book. That's a great book.
What about your husband? Was he on board with the gluten-free diet? Did he do it along with you? What about, do you have kids?
Actually, we don't have kids.
Okay.
That was a choice we made. We knew like we would not make good parents.
Really? Why is that?
Like the hardest job. We just figured that's like the hardest job in the world. And in this lifetime, we don't want to take that on.
Okay. Fair enough. So was he on board with the gluten-free diet?
He was supportive of me, but he didn't do it himself. No.
Well, that supportive part is pretty important. We've had plenty of people who are.
That's the biggest component, I think, in somebody sticking with things that I've noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would tell him, like, look, dear, okay, don't bring home cookies anymore. Like, I need you to just, if you're gonna eat it on your own time, but don't bring it home.
Yeah.
He'd be okay. Okay, and don't bring home pie either. Like, don't bring it home. Okay. So he was very supportive, and when he saw like what was changing, he was very happy.
Oh, that's great. And so so do you work on some of these lifestyle things with patients as sort of a first step?
So that's a great question. So actually, a lot of times patients come in and they're like doing all this already.
Yeah,
They're already on a gluten-free diet because they've read whatever Chris Kresser or Josh Axe or all of these other functional medicine people out there. Mm-hmm. And it's so interesting because they're like doing the gluten-free diet, or they're doing paleo, or they're doing autoimmune paleo, and they're like, why am I not better?
How much do you think stress, like you went through what many might consider a stressful event with going back to school and having to travel like that, how much do you think that really plays into it? Like, you talk about people who seem to be doing everything right and still aren't getting better, or still, chronically fatigued. How much is, taking care of that stress component? How much do you think that plays into it?
I think stress is a huge component. I really do. And sitting down with patients and then asking them, really getting personal with them and asking them, like, are you happy in your life? Do you feel like you're leading a purpose-driven life? Do you feel, do you like your job? Do you hate your job? What is your relationship like? Do you love your spouse? Do you hate your spouse? Like, where are you at?
Yeah, it's almost like you're a therapist sometimes to try and get to the heart of the matter.
Yeah, because I really think that that's really where the big changes happen, is when patients can see, where those big stressors are. And, some of them, they're at the point where they know that they need to make the change and they're ready to make the change. And sometimes it's just planting that seed.
Right.
To say, look, we're going to do everything we can, but I'm going to tell you right now, if that is not taking it, if we don't take care of that at some point, you're going to hit a wall. Like, you're only going to get so far with getting better.
Until you deal with that. Even if so,
until you deal with it.
Sure. And in some cases, maybe people need to deal with something that happened years ago, even or even
Oh,
that
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Going back to childhood stuff, yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
So I think that's a big part of why people are not getting better.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, stress management is vitally important.
Yeah. I mean, I'm interested in growing up with a dad with 3 jobs, and I would imagine that was stressful. Did you sense that at all growing up, that there was some stress there, and that maybe you resisted being an entrepreneur as you got older, or was there?
I think I sensed the tension, like
Yeah.
you would with any parent. There's that vibe in the room where like everything's good, or there's that vibe in the room where like Dad's had a really bad day. Just leave him alone.
Yeah, got you.
Yeah, sure. I think every kid has that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you made it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it was difficult for me to figure out this Google Hangout, but this is actually only my second Google Hangout.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad we got through it, and we appreciate your time. It was a great conversation. It was really
small world. Did you live in Lombard while you went to school?
Yeah, I lived right on campus both times.
Oh, they have campus housing there, right off Roosevelt?
They do. Yeah.
I did not know that. I've only been back there once. I went and got a student massage,
There you go.
which I learned about right before I moved away from the area. Otherwise, I'd have been hitting that up for like 10 years.
Sure.
Because
Yeah,
you can get
yeah, because-
discounted massage, acupuncture. I'm sure there's other stuff, chiropractic adjustments and things from students.
Yep.
And I learned about it literally 2 weeks before I moved away from the area. And
I'd be a little bit nervous about the acupuncture. I picture this old Monty Python type of blood squirting everywhere. No, I'm kidding.
I'd hope that the students that they allow to work on people who come into the clinics have been through some pretty solid training by that point and are either that or are supervised.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can attest at both.
Okay.
They have been fully
Cool.
trained, and they are supervised. You can't do anything without consulting with the clinician first.
Good.
That's
to know.
cool,
And
right?
if you do something without consulting with the clinician, you could get kicked out of the program completely.
Okay.
Oh, good.
So
Yeah,
they
no,
really
it's safe.
maintain high standards.
My
So
massage
yeah.
was good, and it was $25 or something for an hour massage. So it was super
Yeah.
cool. And that place was right next to Enchanted Castle, the kids' wonderland. That was the reason to want to grow up in Lombard, was that it was right next to Enchanted Castle, which was a massive arcade plus mini rides plus mini golf plus games. It was where you got to go on report card day if you were good.
And it's still there.
It's still there.
It's
yeah.
still there.
But that's
Yeah.
why kids from the Chicago suburban areas, they knew of Lombard purely because it's where Enchanted Castle was. And I got to live right next to it, so we got to go more than average kids.
Nice.
Lucky you.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, it's small world. Thanks for hopping on and sharing
Yeah.
your story with us. And when we do some more content-related stuff, you're definitely on our list to contact to be a guest and share some of your functional medicine knowledge with our audience.
Well, guys, thanks for having me on the show today. I really appreciate it, and talking with you guys. It's been a blast.
For folks, and once again, just want to mention the website. It's Dr. Carri, right? drcarri.com, DR.
Yeah. drcarri.com. Yeah.
Perfect. And then if folks want to work with you, they can find you there, right?
They can find me there, yeah, and submit an application through there and talk to my staff.
Great.
And there's
Sounds
a
good.
lot of good podcast episodes there, too. A lot of people that you guys, our audience, will recognize and know when you see the list. So hop on over and check it out.
Excellent. All right.
Thanks,
Thanks
guys.
again. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye-bye.